Hi everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you're listening to this or watching this. So once again, I want to say congratulations to you guys for how far you've come along with your journey into UI UX design. As beginners, I believe the previous classes have actually made us to understand how to get started, the things that are very important that we need to know before we know whether okay, UI UX is something we want to do or it is not something we want to do. And I believe by now we all have or we all are about to decide what to what to do, whether we are going to be going into it or it's not something we are going to be considering. So having knowing what it entails to get started in UI UX design. So today we're going to be talking about getting started with jobs, internship, as the case may be. So we're going to be talking about how to start the journey after knowing everything that are meant to be known, be it the UI part, the UX part, understanding how important both aspects are, which one is totally dependent on the other, which one is something that has to be done before the other has to be done. Do you understand? Because obviously, from your previous classes, you must have been taught that something informs the other. The UX informs the UI. Because no matter how good it looks like, no matter how great the product looks, obviously, if the experience is bad, it is not a good design. Do you understand? So let's talk about getting started here. So welcome to the world of user interface and user experience design. UI UX is crucial, and this presentation covers career path, job search tips, and a day in the life. This is for aspiring designers in Nigeria. Explore opportunities and realities brought to you by Brightflare Tech. So decoding the UI UX. The key concepts here are the user interface design itself and the user experience design. We told you in the previous classes that UI focuses on how a product looks like, visual elements and interactivity, while the experience part focuses on the user's needs and creating seamless experience while using the product. They both, that is UI and UX, have a symbiotic partnership. Examine good and bad UI UX in Nigerian apps. Consider local e-commerce platforms. When you look into this, these are things that can actually give you insight to what a good UI UX is and what a bad UI UX is. Like I said earlier, a particular design may look great, may look aesthetically appealing, but when a user or when a demographic of users interact with the app and they start giving a lot of complaints, and at the end of the day you realize that, oh, this thing is just looking good visually, but the experience is actually bad. So these are things that set you aside from every other designer. These are things that let us know whether you are a good UI UX designer or you're a bad UI UX designer. And it is of utmost importance to make sure that you are a good UI UX designer. Do you understand? So that people can always trust your judgment on products. People can always trust your work, especially when you're just getting started. For beginners like you need to understand that you need to do something that makes you stand out, something that is top notch, that tells your potential employer that, oh, you are the best fit for this particular role. Do you get? So let's talk about the career path in UI UX design. UI designer, we said crafting visually appealing and interactive interfaces. That is your job primarily as a UI person. Do you understand? So UI UX designer focusing on user research and usability testing. Another career path in UI UX design is UX researcher. UX researcher are those that conduct user interviews and they analyze data. Do you understand? So these are different roles that you can that a person can decide to opt in for as far as UI UX design as a career is concerned. You can choose to be a UI designer, you can choose to be a UX designer, you can choose to be a UX researcher, and you can choose to be a UI UX designer. It's fine. Great. So other roles include interaction designer and product designer. Check Jobberman and Glassdoor Nigeria for job titles and salaries. That is getting started. You're done with your 1 month bootcamp, I think. So what is important now is developing yourself on the information that have been given to you in previous presentations and previous classes since the training commenced in early February. So you need to develop yourself on those things that you've learned, on those things that you've gained, on the insights, excuse me, please, that have been given to you. You get during the course of the program. All this will help you to know whether this career is actually for you or is not. Whether it's something you want to consider or something you want to, forget about. So it is very important to do all this. So building your portfolio showcase your skills. Yes, this is a very interesting part because in design, as designers, one thing is this. Yeah, you may be good, you may actually, in fact, you may actually be very good. But the truth is, it is not about saying all these things with your mouth. Do you understand? For instance, I have a friend who is a designer, he used to post his works on Instagram, he used to showcase his design skills on Instagram. And a company reached out to this guy and they're like, oh, Mr. So, please, are you the one that designed this? They said, I mean, he told them, yes, he did. And they're like, ah, fantastic. They don't mind if you can work with them. Honestly, this was how my friend got his first job. To get his first professional job as a designer. He used to post on Instagram, then a certain company saw the design on Instagram and they reached out to him and they were like, oh, please, can you work with us? So now imagine this guy is not the type that actually push his work out there. Imagine he's not the type that actually post his works out there. How would this particular company, how would they have been able to know that he actually does something like that? So this is just an illustration to how important, to show you how important it is to show yourself out there, to push yourself out there. So we are going to be talking about portfolio. What is portfolio and why is it important? Let's put it simply this way. Portfolio is just something that contains your work, that shows your design skills, the works you've done in the past or that you're working on currently, the designs you've done that you're doing, or the ones you are creating case study for that you might or that you still want to do. Do you understand? This is what a portfolio is. That thing that contains all the designs you've done is simply what a portfolio is. So why a portfolio is essential is because it demonstrates your abilities to your potential employers. I said this earlier. Without seeing your work, people won't know how good you are. It is not about telling them with your mouth that, oh, I can do this, or I'm very good at doing this. No. They want to see, like, show us what you've done. Let us see you. From what you've done, we can tell whether you're actually fit for the role or not. So, another thing to talk about is essential, excuse me, please, essential elements. Here, we talk about case studies, design process, and personal project. Do you understand? I mentioned case studies earlier. Case studies, they actually documents that shows stuffs that you've done, that shows what your design process looks like, your design thinking looks like. I mean, your design approach, what it looks like, and personal projects that you've done. Do you understand? Portfolio shows all these things. These are part of the essential elements. Excuse me, please. These are part of the essential elements that portfolio showcases. So tools for creating portfolio, yeah, there are many. We have Behance, we have Dribble, we have personal website. In fact, your Figma, your friendly design tool, Figma, your friendly UI design tool, Can also create portfolio for you. You can do it with it. So another important thing here to talk about is your resume and cover letter. So tips for UI UX role. Every job offer, every job roles rather, they have specific CV and resume for them. I mean, sorry, specific cover letter and resume for them. So for UI UX role, you need to tailor your resume. You need to highlight relevant skills and experience. You need to use certain keywords like user research, like wireframing, like prototyping. When you speak these keywords, a potential employer knows that, oh, this person knows what he's doing, this person knows what she's doing. Then after doing this, then you showcase your portfolio. You link to online portfolio. I mean, you give out links to your online portfolio and projects that shows things, that you've done. And through this, people out there can actually know what you're into and what your capability is as far as UI UX design is concerned. So you craft a compelling cover letter, you express your passion for UI UX. You need to tell them the kind of redesigns that you've done. As a beginner, is good when you look at certain excuse me, please. When you look at existing designs, you design them, so you look at a particular brand, you'll be like, oh, this particular product of theirs is not really looking good. You can look at, let's say, Kuda, for example. You look at Kuda Hub, you redesign. They don't necessarily have to employ you to do that. You are trying to, brush up your skill. You are trying to develop yourself. So it's something you can just do at will. So these are things that make you stand out. And at the end of the day, who knows? Imagine you picking up Kudos app and you redesign it, and maybe you talk to a friend about it, and such friend works at Kuda, and you know, they saw it and they were like, "Oh, this is great. See how this person redesigned her app." And who knows, they can just invite you for an interview. "Oh, bro says, can you work with us?" And before you know it, yeah, you're done. So, it's that interview. It is very important for you to understand that preparation is key. Even if we are not talking about UI design, in any field, any career, preparation is key. Once you are invited for an interview, you need to always get yourself prepared ahead of time. Because if you think they won't invite you for the interview, and they do, and certain interviewers give very short notice, do you understand? So you need to always be at alert that, oh, any opportunity can come at any time. Imagine when opportunity meets preparation, how great that would be. So you prepare for common UI UX interview questions. You use the STAR method for behavioral questions. You prepare questions to ask the interviewer. It is very important. Most of these organizations, at the end of the interview, they always, they will even ask you, do you have any question for us? And it's good. One of the things that made them know that you were actually involved in that interview, like that you're not just there physically, you were there with your soul and your mind, is asking them questions themselves. Ask them about the organizations. Ask anything that doesn't look clear to you, rather. Ask them about it. This will let them know that you really have interest in working with them. Do you understand? So that's it. So you practice your interview skills, research the company. Any company that invites you for an interview, please do well to make findings about them before you go for the interview. It is very good when you're knowledgeable about the organization that is about to interview you. Understand their users and know what they actually, what the value proposition is. You need to understand it. And all this will actually inform how your interview process will go and what the outcome of the interview process will look like. So certain common mistakes you need to avoid. One, not showing your design process. It is not a good practice. For as a UI UX designer, you need to explain your thinking and your decision making. Do you understand? Two, focusing only on aesthetics. You need to prioritize usability over visual appeal. Yes, I mentioned something that certain products may look aesthetically appealing, but at the end of the day, you realize that they are not what they are supposed to be. Do you understand? So it is very important. You don't just focus on only on aesthetics, how the product looks like. You need to prioritize usability, the kind of experience you want users to have while interacting with that product. You need to prioritize it. Three, the third mistake here to avoid is neglecting user research. You need to avoid assumptions without user understanding. Remember, the product is not for yourself. It is not for our immediate family member. It is something we want to push out there for thousands, hundreds, millions, if possible, of people, to use. So we need to understand them. That is why things like user personnel, empathy, they are very important, for you as a UI UX person. Another thing is this, don't submit generic applications. Understand accessibility principles. Be thorough and detail-oriented. Do you get? Be thorough and be detailed. Be someone. In fact, when you're trying to get a job, in fact, your CV, your composure, your cover letter, everything in there can actually tell a potential employer whether you're actually the type that pay attention to details. And I tell you, as a UI UX person, paying attention to details is key. It's something that stands you out. Do you get? So it is very important. Don't joke with it. What a day in the life of a UI UX designer looks like. Morning, emails, project briefs. Midday, you research your prototypes. Afternoon, you test your designs, you iterate. Is there something we need to improve? You go back to the previous wherever. Is there an error in the prototype? You go back there. Is there research we didn't do quite well? You go back there, you review. And this is how, this is just how it in the life of a UI person is. You attend to mails, you check project briefs, maybe with your products manager, with other team member, with the developers on the team. Do you understand? You check things together, you test, you iterate, you keep refining, and refining until you get the actual product that works best for you guys. So you can use Figma, Adobe XD, Sketch, and Miro. You collaborate with developers and product managers. I said this earlier. Teamwork is very important. You all work together to do something great, to bring out something great for people, for users out there. When you collaborate with developers and product managers, it even helps your work as a UI UX designer. The product managers you can always review designs with them. They correct it. They tell you, oh, well, we have to criticize this. And criticism is very important. Do you understand? When your job is being criticized as a designer, maybe by your project team members or something, maybe by the product manager or a particular developer, it's not something you should frown face about. Do you understand? It is important. So your ability to understand and accept criticism is also very important. It shapes your mind. It helps you to grow. Do you understand? The truth is, you will not always create the best product because no matter how good you think you are, there are people who are better than you. And apart from the fact that there are people who are better than you can always do something great. You can always do something better. Do you understand? So that is why criticism is very important. And when that is done to you, embrace it with love. It helps you to grow and do better. So another thing to talk about here is interactive session. Your aspirations and your job search advice. You share career aspirations and challenges openly. Yes, you might get frustrated. You may be having certain challenges, even while practicing. You may be having certain challenges on the way, and at some point you may not even know what to do. You understand? Share your challenges openly. Speak to a particular group of designers. Speak in the community of designers that you belong to. Do you understand? When you share these challenges, someone out there may have an advice to give you or a better way to tell you to handle this thing. And at the end of the day, it is sorted. Explore websites to find jobs, network and build connections. Excuse me, please. Explore opportunities within the Nigerian tech scene. Address specific questions and concerns. List relevant professional organizations in Nigeria. Get connected. Push to that company. You don't have to wait until they put it out there that they need designer in the company. No, reach out to them. Let them know that you're serious. Do you understand? There's no harm in doing that. And it is very good. So lastly, your UI UX journey. Next steps. You recap key takeaways, encouragement, resources. Key takeaways from all the previous lessons you've had. Encourage yourself. Do you understand? By making yourself a better person at all costs. Then explore resources. There are so many design resources out there, be it website, be it PDF, I mean books, be it even YouTube videos. They are all online resources that you can check. Do you understand? And all this will aid your learning. And even when you get the job, you keep learning while on the job. You keep learning. In as much you are still in that field, in that career, You keep learning and learning and learning. You can succeed in UI/UX design. No doubt. Trust me, you can. You will succeed exceedingly well. Use online courses, books, communities for learning, and all this will make your journey swift, smooth. And even you yourself, you look at when you start and you be like, oh, see how far I've come. Honestly, and this is the easiest way to get things done. Please don't get discouraged. The journey is not something that is very smooth, but I tell you, it is something that is worth it. Thank you and keep in touch.